Hi, everyone. You are listening to Radio Cherry Bombe, and I'm your host, Carrie Diamond, coming to you from Newsstand Studios at Rockefeller Center in the heart of New York City. I'm the founder and editor of Cherry Bombe magazine. Today's guest is Chef Jess Murphy. Originally from New Zealand, Jess moved to Ireland in 2011 and opened the doors to Kai, the award-winning restaurant she runs with her husband, Dave Murphy. Because of the sustainability programs at Kai, it's the only restaurant in Ireland to have been awarded the Michelin Green Star. Jess is also passionate about helping refugees in Ireland record their food stories, and she's been recognized for the work she does with the UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Jess was in New York last week because she was this year's featured chef at the annual Kerrygold St. Patrick's Day luncheon. She made a beautiful meal for all of us, and of course, there was a lot of Irish butter and cheese, plus oysters and lamb and ice cream and bread, lots of good stuff, and we talk all about it. I loved getting to know Jess, so stay tuned for our chat. This episode of Radio Cherry Bombe is supported by Open Table. We are so excited that Open Table is once again partnering with Cherry Bombe on our Sit With Us community dinner series, which highlights amazing female chefs and restaurateurs in the Cherry Bombe and Open Table networks. Thank you to everyone who joined us recently in Miami and Philly. For our next dinner, we'll be in Washington, D.C. at Chef Ria Montez's Estuary on Wednesday, March 27th. Tickets are sold out, but if you snagged one, I'll see you there. Today's show is also presented by Johnnie Walker Blended Scotch Whiskey. Johnnie Walker is the world's #1 Scotch whiskey brand and has been responsible for lots of happy hours and convivial moments for more than 200 years. That tradition continues today in Edinburgh, where Dr. Emma Walker, Johnnie Walker's first female master blender, leads a passionate team of whiskey makers. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Emma, and she is so dedicated to her craft. I know some of you love having a well-stocked liquor cabinet or bar cart at home, so 2 options to consider. First, Johnnie Walker Black Label. Its nose, as Emma would say, features the bold scent of fruit with a touch of sweet vanilla. Your tongue will pick up creamy toffee, sweet fruit, and spice, followed by a warming, smoky finish. If you want to experience the pinnacle in Scotch making, there's Johnnie Walker Blue Label. Its nose features waves of spice that give way to vanilla and honey. You'll experience notes that build from caramel to hazelnut to dark chocolate, then a luxuriously long, warming signature smoky finish. You can learn more about Johnnie Walker Blended Scotch Whiskey at johnniewalker.com. You'll find a deep dive into the brand's history and legacy, cocktail recipes, info on the Johnnie Walker Princes Street brand and tasting room experience in Edinburgh, adding that to my bucket list, and more. Of course, always drink responsibly. Now, let's check in with today's guest. Chef Jess Murphy, welcome to Radio Cherry Bombe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
You are in town because of the annual Kerrygold luncheon. You're the featured chef this year, and I was very lucky to eat your food. You made a beautiful lunch.
Well, it's kind of like easy to do when it's such a good ingredient. The guys at the restaurant sourced amazing ingredients. You know, I didn't have to do too much to them.
How similar was that to what you make at Kai, your restaurant back in
It's super
Galway?
similar because, it's all kind of cultures, all mixed up together.
Mm-hmm.
The motto is buy really good food and don't do anything to it.
We had amazing oysters from Mermaid. What was the name again?
So it was called Mermaid Makeout Point Oysters, and they are from Long Island, and they were amazing. And then we had the chili pepper water.
And you know, it's so funny. We know her, Kiki.
Made by Kiki.
You talked her up, which was so nice. And I was like, I need to learn about this woman who has this condiment. And you came over and you gave me a bottle of it. And I looked at it when I got home and I laughed. I was like, oh, it's Kiki. We love her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll share on Instagram, folks, so you can all go by Kiki's seasoning.
Absolutely. Look out for it because that and oysters, it just tastes like a really nice clamato, a bougie clamato, but like with oysters.
And you had a little kimchi on top too, right?
Well, the kimchi was on the potatoes.
What was on top of the
like
oysters?
torn pomelo.
Oh.
Yeah, torn pomelo
okay.
segments.
Oh, how funny. The texture with the spiced water.
Tastes like kimchi.
I totally thought it was kimchi. That's so interesting. Okay.
But it's such a nice combination with oysters,
beautiful.
isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew? I mean, it was great.
No, it was so good. It was funny. They put the bowls of the oysters on the table, and the woman I was sitting next to said, oh, do you like oysters? I was like, oh, wait, the 6 oysters aren't just for me.
That's how I would be.
We also had lamb. Oh, and the squash that was with the lamb.
Yeah, well, that was all like just Japanese charcoal. So nice, brown, crispy.
That was so good. And there was some kind of like a gremolata.
So yeah, that was a
pesto on
Yemeni
top.
zug that I learned how to cook from some amazing Dublin Yemenese woman.
And then sticky toffee pudding. It's
Yes.
fantastic with some roasted pears.
Roasted pears, and then it was like a burnt butter muscovado whiskey sauce.
And what was the ice cream?
The ice cream was malted barley ice cream with deep-fried tofu skin that had been tossed in cardamom sugar.
And then we had that yummy butter in the beginning. What did you sprinkle on top of the Kerrygold butter?
So the sourdough was really tart. I was like, right, this needs some seaweed. So I just ground up some kombu and sprinkled it on top to just give it a bit of, oomph.
Did you make the bread?
No.
Oh, the bread was amazing.
Actually, we'll just say yes. Yes, I did.
The bread was fantastic.
The bread was fantastic.
And then, of course, big plates of Kerrygold cheese at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I have two favorites. The reserve cheddar.
Yes.
Love. And the blue cheese.
The Cashel Blue. Oh, yeah.
Have you met those cheesemakers?
I met them. Strangely enough, I went to Delphi Lodge fly fishing for my wedding anniversary, and the people that owned Cashel Blue was there. Sarah's parents. So I was actually just hanging out with Sarah's parents and her uncle, and I was like, no way. Because we were talking about, obviously, New Zealand sheep. We have a lot in common. And they were like, oh, we make Cashel Blue. Yeah. That was really sweet. Yeah.
Cheese royalty. I got to tour where they make the cheese, and it was so much fun. I love blue cheese. Oh, and you had a great salad.
Yeah, well,
I mean, citrus in it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of butter going around, so we needed those chicories. So that's why when I put it down, I was like, token salad.
And it's pink lettuce season.
Yeah, it's chicory season. And we're getting into chicories and nettles and all that kind of stuff. It's all the stuff that boots out all the toxins out of your liver and gets you ready for the new year. In Ireland, we serve a lot of nettles because of that exact reason.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, stinging nettle. I love it.
Yeah, but save all the water, you blanch the nettles in because that's really good for drinking, or if you've got any kind of mild skin infections or dandruff, rinse it through your hair. It's really good for your hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. I'm at the lunch yesterday sitting next to Samantha Barry.
Yes.
Name drop a little. The editor-in-chief of Glamour. She's fabulous and Irish. And you're talking, and I said, I don't recognize that Irish accent. Where is she from?
Yes, it's my most mortifying trait.
Are you also Irish?
So my husband's Irish. So
you're not Irish at all.
I'm an Irish citizen, and I have an Irish passport. I'm actually English, Irish, Scottish, and Maori.
And you are from New Zealand.
And I am from New Zealand.
That is the accent. It is not an Irish accent.
The accent is 100% Flight of the Conchords.
So anyway, as someone who is Irish, I was embarrassed that I failed to recognize that was not an Irish accent.
I mean, 25 years in Ireland, it's kind of starting to blend, I think.
So how did you wind up in Ireland?
My husband's Irish, so my husband's from Carlow. I had been working in the UK and I'd been cooking away for years. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I really want to go to Ireland and learn how to cook since my husband's Irish. I was in New Zealand at the time and I was like, oh, this is so ridiculous. A tin of anchovies costs $25. I need to get back to Europe. I feel like I'm not learning enough. So then I went and worked for Kevin Thornton, who'd had 2 Michelin stars at the time in St. Stephen's Green. So I worked for him for 2 years. And then I saw the Tourism Island adverts. They were trying to relocate people to the west of Ireland. And I was like, where's that? And I was like, can we go and live there? And
so wait, you literally saw an ad?
Ad on TV. Yeah.
Wow. And changed your life.
25 years later, changed my life.
Oh my gosh. You go to Galway.
Yes. Go to Galway. And then I was the head chef of Ardbea for maybe 7 years with an amazing woman who's still one of my best mates to this day. Her name's Yvonne McNamara. Then I was running 2 restaurants at the time and I just left a 2 Michelin star restaurant. It's kind of like hitting peak burnout. When you're just not looking after yourself, all the creativity, the fire goes out. Then I was like, I need to study something with food, but get paid for it, but also not have the pressure of writing 6 rotas with 35 people on it. Need to get away from the responsibility a bit. Then I got a job as a cheesemonger for Sheridan's Cheese.
Wait, I've been to Sheridan's Cheese in Dublin.
Yeah. They started off in Galway, yeah, and so now they're everywhere. But I'm really good friends with the Sheridan's boys. I worked for them for 5 years and studied Irish raw milk with them and studied European charcuterie and Irish cheese and the importance of milk.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I just really dorked out over it.
So you're the real deal.
Yeah, they kind of paid me to do it. But I've been to America Milking as well. So I've been to Rogue River Creamery and everything like that. I've been going to Piemonte, the Slow Food Raw Milk Festival for the last 20 years. So I'm a milk dork.
We'll be right back with today's guest. You all know this, but March is Women's History Month, And of course, Cherry Bombe is celebrating. I want to give a special thank you to Walmart for supporting Radio Cherry Bombe throughout Women's History Month and for Walmart's commitment to empowering women all year long. Walmart is a big supporter of female entrepreneurs and carries an incredible range of female-founded and fueled brands. Brands like Siete Family Foods, the Mexican-American food brand by Veronica Garza and, as the name says, her family, Loom, the whole-body deodorant line by Dr. Shannon Klingman, and the Honey Pot, plant-derived feminine care products founded by Beatrice Dixon. Check out these brands and more of our female-fueled favorites over at walmart.com/celebrate her. You can find that link in our show notes. For this episode, we are spotlighting Marcella Hazan, the celebrated cookbook author who helped Americans understand Italian food. Born in 1924, she moved to New York City in 1955. Marcella would go on to write multiple cookbooks, receive numerous accolades, including the James Beard Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award, and win over the hearts of amateur and professional cooks alike for her simple, technique-driven recipes. If you've ever made Marcella's tomato sauce, which calls for just canned tomatoes, butter, 1 onion, and some salt, you know why she is so revered. As the former New York Times restaurant critic Craig Claiborne said, Marcella Hazan is a national treasure. No one has ever done more to spread the gospel of pure Italian cookery in America. Tell us about Kai. How did Kai come about?
I was working in Sheridan's. Above Sheridan's, we have like the most amazing wine bar. I say we as in I still work there. Technically, in my mind, I do. So we have an amazing wine bar. And the bank manager from the Bank of Ireland used to go to the wine bar. And I was like, oh, what's your name? And it was Pat Fleming, yada, yada. And I was like, oh, can I get a loan? Because I wanted to start my own dairy. And I was like, yeah, I need probably €500,000, and this was like 2008 when the whole world's economy was crashing. I had no idea. He was like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. And I was like, well, what if I come and if I say I need 35 grand for opening a restaurant? And he was like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. So I had...
In the wine bar? You hadn't even stepped foot in the bank?
No, this was in his office. And then he was like, you need to write a business plan. And I was like, I got expelled from school when I was 15. I don't even know how to copy and paste on a computer. He was like, right, you have to come to my office for 3 days. We sat there and guesstimated how many people I'd do for lunch, how many employees I'd have, how much I'd pay them.
My jaw's on the floor.
I know, yeah.
Do things like that happen in Ireland? They don't happen here in New York like that.
Well, I think, you have to punch at the stars and kind of create your own luck. I'm just like a little ball of frustration walking around the place. So I think I just get things done like that.
There was such a great thing you said. You have to punch at the stars.
Yeah. You have to be like a little ball of frustration. Die trying.
Yeah.
Die trying every time. Between my whole life savings, the 35 grand, I opened Kai with €3.10 in the bank account. I know that because me and Dave went to the cream bar on the corner to buy 2 pints because we'd just finally got the doors open. So we had our first shift and we went to get a pint each and we had no money for 2 pints. And we had to bank the cash every day to pay our rent. And so that's how it started.
What was your vision for Kai in the beginning?
Well, Kai's an old florist shop. I got Kai because a retired couple, and she was actually from San Francisco, married to an Irish guy. She did beautiful flowers, but she used to make some cakes, and I used to go in there, and I used to just love her and talk to her. And then she was like, you know what, we're really retiring. But I loved Alice Waters so much. I can really see something in you that's like Alice Waters. We have a restaurant license. We already have a wine license. This is how much it is for rent. They didn't do one on me. They actually gave me a really reasonable rent. And they were like, we just want somebody to look after the place. And I was like, well, I won't change it too much. And it still has that whole florist shop vibe. It's really cute.
What a story.
Yeah.
And to have her recognize something in you that she had seen in Alice Waters, that's pretty major.
Yeah. At the time, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, this is crazy.
And why Kai? Why that name?
Kai means food in Maori. Where I'm from is 65% Māori. So I grew up in this amazing town being looked after by all these amazing Māori women. So I was like, yeah, Kai, that's where my heart is. I'm going to call it Kai because, I don't know, I just didn't want to call it a tacky Irish name. I wanted it to mean something. I mean, I love beer, the word beer as well, but I had already worked for Ard Beer. And then I was trying to figure out a name. And I was like, yeah, Kai's great. Either that or Jess and Dave's Bistro. Or Jess's Bar and Grill. Kai is perfect.
What was the culinary vision for Kai when you opened?
Really slow food. I'd been working at Sheridan's. I got taught by Kevin Thornton. We see a delivery of 20 pigs' heads. And I'd have to bone out all the pig's heads and marinate them in poutine for 3 weeks and make them basically into a sausage using their own head. Kevin taught me so much about really creepy stuff like that. And then skinning rabbits, all the game. Then I went into work with Sheridan's brothers. So then they taught me everything Irish, how important an Irish native apple is. And we have like a program in the west of Ireland called Seed Savers. They actually go and find trees that are like 500 years old and graft them. So you can actually get the modern day trees for your own backyard. Just really special stuff like that. Even potatoes. I know people go, oh, there's more to Ireland than potatoes. I'm like, no, man. Potatoes were our currency. Be proud of our potatoes. I don't care.
You made the best potatoes yesterday.
Yeah, well, you have to get into really loving potatoes because sometimes you have potatoes and an eel in the middle of winter and maybe some beetroot.
Those were magical potatoes. Do you know what kind that was?
Yeah,
yesterday?
they were fingerlings.
So good.
Yeah.
And what was underneath?
Underneath the potatoes was a labneh, just really simple. I use salt in my labneh because it cures quicker. Labneh, kimchi, and then potatoes tossed in white miso and butter. Sometimes at home I do Vegemite.
Oh,
Vegemite butter.
Yeah, I tried not to totally pig out on the potatoes, but I could have eaten that whole bowl by myself.
Yeah, I kind of just ate potatoes yesterday myself.
How old is Kai now?
So Kai's 13 this year.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm like a tired showgirl.
That's the real deal. You've won a bunch of awards, but one that you're super proud of, and it's something I had really never heard of before, a Green Michelin Star.
The Green Michelin Star is being recognised for your sustainability because I always look at sustainability. I'm like, yeah, cool. We all should be recycling right at this stage. Yes, we all should be washing our containers. Yes, we all should be doing all those things. That's basic knowledge. We know that. But for me, I look at the community as being sustainable. So I look at the community, my workforce, and then I look at people around me in my own community. I suppose being the Green Michelin Star has just been recognised for work I do with the UNHCR and then also with schools.
Just for some folks who listen who are restaurateurs and chefs, I think everybody in this industry now wants to have their places be greener, but sometimes you just don't even know where to start. What are some of the things you're doing that folks here can learn from?
So like anything, small drips fill a bucket. I started with toilet paper, just using recyclable toilet paper. Then changing things like, the paper roll that we use into like a recycled roll. And then I was like, you know what, these bags that the salad leaves are coming in are really strong. We'll just rinse them out, hang them up, dry them out, give them back to the producer. And then the organic guys were like, oh, we really need cardboard to keep down the weeds and stuff like that. They use it to mulch. And I was like, sweet, well, you can have all my cardboard because it cost me €7 a bag, but you guys can just take it away and mulch it. So it just all started with that, just ask your suppliers or farmers. One of those like really cheap scratch cards. There's something underneath. May not be all the time, but there's always a backstory of somebody else that's going to need the product that you need, whether or not it's your coffee grounds. We have lots of gardeners in Galway. We mix the coffee grounds with seaweed, which makes dirt again and all this kind of stuff. We weigh our rubbish. It's all saving money, right? Because you don't have to pay for a rubbish company to take it away. So technically it's environmentally good, but also it keeps your food costs down for your restaurant. So it's economically smart.
Let's talk about your work with the United Nations, because I know this is something that's so deep in your heart and it's really important work that you do. Tell us what you're doing with the United Nations and how that work began.
Okay, so we all know the Irish food history of how the Irish were starved and basically populated America and other countries.
Yeah.
They had to leave. They created this huge vacuum. So historians have found out that it takes 2 generations to lose your food heritage. And when I first moved to Ireland, there was no foreigners. Well, there was a handful of us. But, all the foreigners were all mates because we were missing something, especially food-wise. You're spice or lemongrass or something. Anyway, so I just noticed more and more refugees were coming into Ireland. And I was like, oh, this is a tricky moment. This could go either 2 ways because Ireland's never really had that many refugees coming into it. What happened in Australia is in the 70s, they opened the floodgates. So all Greeks, Lebanese, even Serbians, Bosnians, Polish moved into Australia to populate it, right? And then their food culture is phenomenal. And I was like, this is going to happen to Ireland. But what we're going to have is people doing shawarma, but with Irish lamb and beautiful Irish beef, and they're making their own cheese because they can't get their cheese that they have at home. And I was like, well, somebody needs to start recording all this. So that's what I did, because I don't want them to move to Ireland and lose their food heritage. At the moment, I was saying to the girls the other day, I was in Rome at Parabera Forum, I was saying to the girls, I'm now on my second generation. Now I'm like recording the daughters' food history now of Yemenis, Irish mixes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just started recording it. And then like, bizarrely enough, again, the Jess Murphy world that it is, somebody's like, hey, can I record that? And I'm like, yes, please. And then I got a phone call from a guy called, I always say a guy called Jody, because everyone's like, Jody? Jody and Jess? I was like, Jody's the man, okay? Because like the 6-foot tall tomb guy walks in. So myself and Jody went on a mission. So we went to Beirut and we went to refugee camps just outside of Damascus, about 45 minutes away from Damascus. Actually, bizarrely enough, it was by Chateau Mazar, which is like the most famous Lebanese winery. So we were in Beirut and we were like on refugee camps there, and I was just seeing what kids ate. And like what we all know universally is kids love fries. But yeah, that was kind of cute. I followed loads of refugees that were getting rehomed and were resettled in Ireland. And then I also went to Jordan. So I went to Azraq, which was a refugee camp. I think its maximum is 80,000 now. They're at maximum. I think 35 babies are born there a week. So that was an amazing, amazing experience.
When you say you were recording their food histories, what were you doing with that?
So I was just cooking. I was going to their houses, sitting there for hours and just recording what they were doing.
Are you putting it on social media? Was there a website or you were just doing this?
Yeah, it's on the Irish UNHCR website.
Okay.
There's actually 4 documentaries I filmed, which was fantastic. I basically did it on no budget. I never have any money to do anything like this, which is like, you know, most of the time you get more creative. I filmed with Yemenis women and we studied bread at Bread 41 in Dublin. I went and killed a goat in St. Tola goat's cheese. It's the most amazing cheese, but with the goat's cheese thing, they only take the lady goats.
Right.
So we eat the man goats. So I cooked jollof rice with goat and everything like that in the middle of a field in Clare. All this kind of stuff. It's like super cool. And like it's just recording their history. And they've all got Irish wives and husbands now. Well, a lot of them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how has it been for them in Ireland? Are they welcomed? Are they treated well?
Absolutely. They are treated well, but the Ukrainian war has taken its toll. I find, yeah, Ireland's going through like a messy little blimp, I like to call it, in history at the moment. At the moment, when you apply for refugee status, you should be able to work. You know, immigrants want to work. If there's one thing immigrants do, and really well, is we work. That's a point to get across. They're not like rocking up going on the dole or a benefit or whatever.
They can't work now when they come to Ireland?
They can, but they have to kind of wait for their papers.
Okay.
So that the waiting process is really vital to like stick with them. So depression doesn't set in because their hands are tied. A lot of them volunteer with local gardeners and growers and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Are some politicians making it harder for them to get their papers? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, the whole world at the moment is a little bit
hostile
to
immigrants. Yeah.
Quite a lot of different things are going on. Yeah.
And refugees. And
that's it.
Yeah, everyone.
Food shouldn't ever be used as a weapon. And so creating this food history for them, hopefully when I die, I leave Ireland with a little bit more recorded food culture for everybody else that was brought up. So hopefully, you know, like I always use Sarah as an example. Sarah's one of the Yemenis daughters. So she's studying forensic science in Galway University. So Sarah always comes to the restaurant and we have a cup of tea together and we have the chats. And I'm just like, you know, she's translating her mother's recipes into written word because obviously, and I'm like, don't lose your Yemenis. Just make sure you like refresh your language all the time and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just nice to see that generation.
How has this changed Kai over the years?
Oh, it's changed it immensely. Like it's changed all the way that I cook. And it's really funny because like it doesn't matter what culture you work with, you always do it wrong and you do it like some other woman from another culture. The Syrians always go, oh no, everything you do is too big. You're like an Iranian woman. Or, yeah, no. And then Congolese women are like, who taught you how to make plantain like that? And I'm like, listen, ladies, I'm one woman trying to like just do the do. It's quite cute.
You do your best.
Yeah, well, you know, as a chef, you know, you don't actually get yelled at that often. So I find it kind of refreshing to like be told off by older women.
You also did a book, United Nations of Cookies.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me a copy.
No problem.
Can folks get the book anywhere?
You can get it at Blaster Books online. The whole backstory of my UNHCR work goes into that and all those proceeds. So all our proceeds go back to the UNHCR. It's pretty cool. But, you know, I just needed a hook, line and sinker, like to be able to go to schools to teach kids that it's okay to be like a short, dumpy little cookie. And then there's like thumbprint jam cookies from Norway. And yeah.
So we're all a different kind of cookie. If you were a cookie, what cookie would you be?
Well, I'd be the Anzac biscuit. Clearly.
I had that for the first time a few years ago.
Yeah, they're really nice.
There was somebody from New Zealand, and he had a Crowded House T-shirt on.
Oh my God, was it like Russell Crowe? He always pretends that he's Australian, but he's actually from New Zealand.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Australia can have him now at this stage. Yeah.
So an Anzac biscuit. I need to think about what kind of cookie I would be.
My American ex-sous chef, I've always had an American sous chef in Kai. One was from Long Island, one was from Massachusetts, one was from New York. So they've always done like, you know, the everything cookie?
Yeah.
Like with the pretzels.
Like a kitchen sink cookie. Mm-hmm.
Kitchen sink cookies. Mm-hmm. And you guys like all your cookies like really soft, which I find is really weird.
I like it cooked on the outside and a little underbaked.
No, I need it to snap, man. I need it to be like jib board. Yeah.
I'd probably be a Girl Scout cookie. I was a champion seller of Girl Scout cookies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Did you have the Girl Scouts in
we have to go.
New Zealand?
Yeah, we have to go. Mm-hmm. But they've gone like really fancy. Like they've started dipping them in chocolate now. They've gone really bougie. Before it was like just like a plain wine biscuit with no vanilla or anything in it.
My mother was the Girl Scout cookie mom one year. So this tractor trailer pulls up to the house to drop off all the cookies so all the other families can come pick up the cookies. But somehow, instead of like 100 boxes, we got 1,000 boxes, but they weren't 1,000 boxes of every flavor. They were, I'm exaggerating, about 1,000, but it was like double what we were supposed to get. And instead of getting like one of each, it was all peanut butter.
Oh.
So every day my mother would send us to school with a box of the peanut butter Girl Scout cookies, and they weren't the tag-alongs.
And
they
you
weren't
wiped
the
out
good
everybody
peanut
with
butter.
a nut allergy.
Well, the nut, no. The nuns,
you wiped them all out.
People didn't really have peanut butter allergies back then.
No, isn't it weird?
It's a long time ago.
And now on the radio, they're saying give your kids peanut butter so they don't develop allergies in Ireland.
Interesting.
Which is a weird one.
So we would bring the peanut butter cookies to school, and the principal, Sister Janine, had to call my mother and say, please don't bring any more peanut butter cookies to school.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah,
stop
everyone
the
was
flow.
sick of them. Anyway, I'm going to think about what kind of cookie I am. And everybody, I want you to stop for a second and think about what kind of cookie you are.
Yeah, the cookie thing is perfect, right? Because then you can like get these little kids to listen to this woman going on about it's okay to be a different cookie because you have cookies behind you. So you have the stuff that they want behind you, but they have to listen to you. And I wrap it up in 20 minutes. So, you know, the 5-year-olds, we can get that message through. And then it's like, cookie. But I always do the American cookie with kids. It's always like colorful. It's got the like M&Ms in it and stuff. And they're just like, ah.
How do you wind up with so many American sous chefs?
Well, American-Irish, I guess.
Yeah.
But which is cool. They first taught me about Old Bay and ranch. Ranch being my mother sauce. Now I'm like a ranch dealer in Galway.
Well, I love Ireland. I can't wait to come back. I got to go with Kerrygold in 2019. It was just the most magical trip. We went to Ballymaloe. We went and visited all the farms. There was this one farm, I can't remember what part of the country, but the cows were basically grazing on the most picturesque cliffside farm you've ever seen. And I was like, wow, in America, they'd build a condo there. And instead, they let the cows graze here.
The cows and sheep are grazing together, and they're all eating like seaweed. And like we're coming up to May, which people don't know about, is the magical butter month. May is the magical butter month in Ireland for biodiversity. It's when the cows are eating all the nettles, the buttercups, the clovers, all the different grasses and all that kind of stuff. Because we have a thing in Ireland where we don't mow in May. It's no mow May to help with diversity. The butter then is next level. It's like even golden. You'll notice it. You'll notice it. Even in Kerrygold.
I'm going to pay attention now. Or yogurt. No, that's where I really notice it. Like how yogurt will taste different throughout the year because I buy my yogurt at the farmer's market.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you can really smell cheese as well, you can smell on the cheese. If you close your eyes, I can smell the area it came from. So if it's like the Loire Valley, you can smell the straw because it just reminds you of like farming and stuff like that. And yeah, it's so unique to its own place.
So cool. Well, I can't wait to come back. We've talked about doing Jubilee in Dublin. I would love to make that happen.
That would be amazing.
That'd be fun, right?
Yeah. Or we could totally host it in the West of Ireland. You don't have to go to Dublin all the time. Just saying there's very frequent buses from Dublin to Galway.
Well, like you said, it is a small country. You can get from one side to the other.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier than
in
getting
3 hours.
From New York to California, for example. Speaking of New York, how is New York treating you on this trip?
Oh, amazing. Like I went to an amazing spot, the Red Hook Tavern.
Oh. You're right near my apartment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So I
close
went to Red Hook Tavern and then I went to Sonny's.
Yep.
Billy, who owns Red Hook Tavern, I did the big grill with Billy for a few years. I went there and I had the most amazing burger and oysters. So that was amazing. So that was like the first 3 hours I was in New York. And then I woke up and then because of the jet lag, like you can really use it to your advantage because you're up really early. So then I walked to Katz's Deli and I was like the only one in there having matzo ball soup and latkes. Yeah, so I've had like the most amazing eating experience. I went to Murray's Cheese Shop today. I bought all the American cheese that I could possibly buy, which was fantastic. It was pretty quiet because it was early in the morning, so I got to like peek cheese stalk out with the cheesemongers behind the American counter, and I was like, man, I've just seen like the American cheese movement transcend over the last 20 years.
It's incredible.
It is super cool.
But American cheese, not to be confused with American cheese. You know what that is, right?
No.
Really?
No.
Like Kraft singles, the stuff that's like wrapped in
Oh,
cellophane.
is that what you
It's
call
terrible.
that? American cheese?
It's called American cheese, yeah.
Okay.
We are not proud of that.
Okay, yeah. Well, we have that in New Zealand too, so yeah.
You don't call it New Zealand cheese, I guess.
No, I don't know what we call it. Sliced cheese, I think. But it's kind of nice on a burger. You know the like really nasty nacho sauce that people pump on your corn chips in the movies?
Oh, yeah, I don't really eat that.
Yeah, I'm really into that. That would be my secret.
Where was Dorina cooking? I heard a rumor that you slipped into that.
Oh, I crashed
lunch or
every
dinner.
event Dorina was doing. So
Dorina Allen, famously of Ballymaloo.
It's amazing.
Be dreamy, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Dorina, total grande dame, she's here promoting her new bread book.
Yeah. Well,
and she was cooking with the gals from King.
She's cooking with the girls from King, and then she was cooking in Sailor.
Mm-hmm.
And then she also had a pop-up event, which I finished my event and then went and sliced salmon for Dorina's book event at a bookshop in Brooklyn.
She didn't tell me about that.
Yeah, I don't think it was supposed to be a thing.
Archistratus?
That's it.
Oh, the best.
So I went to that bookshop.
Best.
Oh, my God.
Isn't it great? Yeah, if you all are visiting New York City, you have to put Archistratus on
there.
your list. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing. And obviously I met the owner who was fantastic. And then we went to Gertrude.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow, you made the rounds.
I've done everything.
Covered a lot of ground. You're taking the subway?
Yes. Golden rule. Don't stand in the front line. These are all the things I got told. I was like, I think you're
you don't want to stand. Yes, definitely do not stand close to the line. Yes,
but it's like the Irish thing, though. It's like, you're going to America, the Holy Land, which is quite funny.
Okay, now we want to go back.
Yeah, it's fab, though. It's great that you're all visiting because for us, American tourists, it makes our summer. It's really cool. I remember like Kai was, I think, 3 years open and we never had a tourist in there because we're kind of like a 5-minute walk from town. Mm-hmm. And if you kind of know the area. So you kind of just have to ask people along the way where we are. But so our first TripAdvisor, I don't really like TripAdvisor as such as a platform, but our first American couple that actually ate in Kai wrote this TripAdvisor and it was like, oh my God. I have found this quaint little restaurant and it's nestled between the gay bar and the church. And I was like, this is amazing. I need to put this on my website. Like, I can't even write that better. So now it's officially on our website. That's the quote. But the quote we ripped off from TripAdvisor.
Bless that American couple.
Yeah, they were cool. They have no idea. I wonder who they are. We should do like a TV series of going to find them again. Like they did with that National Geographic lady.
No.
Yeah, they shot the front cover of that kid and then they went back to Afghanistan and they found
the woman
her.
with the eyes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do a speed round. What beverage do you start your day with?
Black coffee.
What's a cookbook you love or a book on food?
Anything written by Rory O'Connell. He's my dreamboat.
Rory's great.
Yeah, I want to marry him. One day he'll let me. We'll just be companions.
And he's a Ballymaloo.
Yes.
Dorina's brother, right?
Dorina's brother.
What's always in your fridge?
Cheese. Obviously.
What was your favorite snack food as a kid?
Vegemite and iceberg lettuce sandwiches on white sliced pan.
Huh. Okay. White sliced pan. Is that like Wonder Bread? Was
yeah,
it
like really horrible processed bread that you can't feed swans. Yeah.
What are you streaming right now?
Grace and Frankie.
What's your footwear of choice in the kitchen?
Blundstones.
Favorite kitchen implement?
Will have to be my apron. So anything made by White Bark Workwear is amazing. I get them to send it over from LA all the time. It's the best chef breathing.
I don't know them. White Bark? B-A-R-K?
Yep. Workwear. All organic American hemp, all hand sewn. And like I used to be a lot bigger than I am now. They're like super size inclusive. They just make you feel, amazing. They give you confidence,
Cool. White Bark. Okay, we're going to look into them. Last question. If you had to be trapped on a desert island with one food celebrity, who would it be and why?
one food celebrity, it would be Ken Hom. Because I used to watch him and Richard Simmons when I was like 8 with my grandmother. Richard Simmons used to be on doing his exercising.
The aerobics guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where is he? No one knows. Still, have they found him? We don't know. Right after Richard Simmons, there was Ken Hom. And it's the first time I ever seen somebody with a wok and cooking rice. Like in New Zealand, we didn't have people that cooked rice. Rice was like totally exotic. It was like pasta.
Just tell us, so folks who are in the U.S., how can they support what you do? I mean, they can visit you in Ireland one day, but they can buy your book here on Amazon, I'm guessing.
Blaster Books. If you go online and you look up Blaster Books, which is like a really small, amazing Irish publisher, a female publisher.
Oh, awesome. So you can buy direct from their website.
Direct from their website. Yeah, and there's loads of Irish books that they're publishing now.
We'll put a link in the show notes to that. Anything else? Do you have a Substack? Do you have a radio show? You should have a radio show.
Yeah, I'd love my own radio show. No, just come to the restaurant and come and see me. I don't know, buy Irish and support women. Give me a follow on Instagram. Then you'll see all my American friends and go to their restaurants. Start the little chain gang going.
I love it. Well, Jess, I could talk to you forever. I feel like this was such a big gift getting to know you this week.
I should have sung you happy birthday.
It's been a treat getting to know you, and I can't wait to visit you in Ireland.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you, and thanks so much. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
That's it for today's show. Don't forget, the Cherry Bombe Jubilee Conference is coming up Saturday, April 20th at Center 415 in Manhattan. Tickets are now on sale, and the Jubilee Scholars application is open. Check out the show notes or our Instagram for the link to the application and to tickets. Jubilee is always an amazing day, and I'd love to see you there. Our theme song is by the band Tra La La. Joseph Hazen is the recording engineer for Newsstand Studios at Rockefeller Center. Our producers are Catherine Baker and Elizabeth Vogt. Our associate producer is Jenna Sadhu, and our editorial assistant is Londyn Crenshaw. Thanks for listening, everybody. You're the bomb.